Well, hi YouTube. Here we are, probably mid-May, and we're getting right into pool season. It's right around the corner. A lot of you guys are already in the pool, I'm sure. We're kind of right on the cusp, mainly because I'm old. I like warm water. So anyway, I'll be in the pool here before too long. But I wanted to talk to you about pool vacuums, because I really don't have a lot of time to stand there and vacuum the pool. So I've been spent a lot of trial and error looking for a pool vacuum, and I've been through several, and either they don't clean worth anything, or they get stuck. They hang up. I had one that vacuumed really well. It did a phenomenal job of vacuuming, but it kept getting hung up on the steps, and every time I turned around it was stuck. And I'm sorry, but it's no good if it's going to be stuck all the time. So I kept trying, and it's funny because I looked at the Hayward vacuums that, I forget what they call them, you know, the creature things, Diver Dan and Wanda the Whale, and I forget what the other one is, it's a beetle thing. And I looked at them for probably 2 or 3 years, and the reviews were hit and miss, and so I put it off, and when I couldn't get something else to work, and I'm not about to spend $600 or $700, $1,000 on a pool vacuum, I just got a wild hair one day and saw it reasonably cheap, and went ahead and bought one. And honestly, I'm so glad I did. I really am. For an inexpensive vacuum, these Hayward vacuums work very well. They really do. They're not fast. I mean, it just sits there at the bottom pool and does its thing, so I don't care how fast it is. And it doesn't do it the first time through. We ended up with Wanda the Whale, if I didn't say. But she'll just keep wandering around the pool, and she'll go over the same spot half a dozen times, a dozen times. And she may not get it first or second or third time, but by the time I'm ready to use the pool, it's clean. And that's all that matters to me. I don't care how long it takes, as long as it's clean when I go to use it. And I've had this Wanda in the pool, I think this is the 3rd season. And unless we're using the pool, she's just down there scooting around. She's doing her own thing. So she's spent at least 2 years, getting on to 3, in a saltwater pool, just scooting on around. And I took her apart this spring. I'm going to show you videos, but this spring the pool was really nasty. It was pretty bad. It's probably the worst spring it's been. And so Wanda had her work cut out for her, and she just kept plugging away, and I had to pull it out and clean it a couple times. She's got a pretty small intake, and so I had to pull her out and clean it out a couple of times, but drop her back in, and away she goes. And the one really nice thing that I like about Wanda, and some of you guys won't, but I like the fact that she is very simple to dismantle and service and reassemble and get back to work. Because you spend $1,000 on a pool vacuum, and every, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks you're calling a service guy to come in and work on it and get it back running again. And they're all the same. They just get hung up with little things like a rock or snail. Like I had to do both this spring. She got a snail stuck in the intake, and it was just the right size to plug it up. And then another time she got a rock that went partway through her mechanism. Excuse me. And she wasn't working right because of this rock. Wow. So again, I was able to take it down, and I didn't have to call a service guy. Boy, something got me. So yeah, I was able to take her apart. I didn't have to call a service guy, and 20 minutes she was back in the pool working. So in this video, we're going to look at what a good job Wanda did this spring, and we're also going to look at what comes in the box, and we'll do a tear down so you can see how Wanda comes apart and goes back together, and how easy she is to work on. And the parts are available. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on eBay. There's lots of different places you can get any parts that you need. But so far, 3 years in, other than fading from the sun, she's as good as new. There's no rust in the screws, and other than the screws, there's a couple of springs, but everything inside is plastic, and the screws and springs look like the day she went in. So I can't complain. It's a salt pool, and for seeing no corrosion after 3 years, I think that's pretty phenomenal. So anyway, we'll get going. We'll do an unboxing here. The reason I have one to open is because when I received Wanda the first time, whatever it was, 2.5, 3 years ago, I dropped her in the pool and she wasn't working. She'd run up to the wall and stop. And I played around with her for a few days and couldn't get her working, so I sent a warranty claim to Hayward. Here we go again. Sent a warranty claim to Hayward, and and I didn't hear anything back, and so I went ahead and pulled Wanda out, and I learned how to take her apart. And the first time, I honestly don't know what I did to get her working. I just took it apart and played with her and put her back together and tried it, and took her apart and played with it and put her back together and tried it. And at one point, something went back together properly. And at that point, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to look for. I was just undoing and redoing. And at some point, she started working, and she's been working for 2.5 years so far. So I put in the warranty claim with Hayward and heard nothing, so did my service on her and got her working. And then probably 6 weeks later, I got another one in the mail. So I just came home from work one day, and there's one sitting on the front porch, and I had no idea she was coming. She was just sitting there. So that's the one we're going to open and tear down and have a look at. And we'll watch the one in the pool working and just get an idea of what's going on there. So I'll get you rearranged here, and we'll take a look at the box. Okay, so this is how she comes. It actually is a fairly big box. And then when you open her up, you've got your vacuum in the middle, and then you've got your hoses spread out underneath, and a couple little warnings and things. Okay, and then you take Wanda out of the middle, and then your hoses are nice and neat underneath. And the hoses are all the same except for one, which is the start, and it's labeled. And there's your Wanda. This is a pressure tester, so you can test the vacuum you have through your system. And this is a pressure regulator if you need to adjust your pressure. This is an adapter for the intake. And then you've got Wanda's tail. And honestly, I wouldn't even bother with the tail. I mean, you do what you want, but it doesn't stay in very well. It doesn't fit very well. And then we've got our Wanda. Brand spanking new. And if you want her tail, it just snaps on. That's it. It doesn't fit very well. That's it. And then on the hoses, one with the orange tag goes on the top. See, that just doesn't work very well. The one with the orange tag goes on top of Wanda, and then this goes in your overflow in your pickup tube, and just drop the hose down inside that. So this will adjust to several sizes, obviously. And that's all there is to it. And your hoses, just assemble like that. Just a slip fitting. And just make sure you've got enough hose that Wanda can easily reach around the pool. So as always, YouTube, I hope these videos are helpful, and I hope it's good information. I hope you'll like and subscribe, and I'll put some links down below for anything that might be helpful for you. You guys have a great day. Have a great summer.